All right, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to connect to your data. And there's two ways that I know of. If there is a third way, I'd really like to know, but believe there's only two ways to connect to your data. So be sure to download that file, and it's this one right here, sample superstore. So I think it's in the first video I had as a download file. So just be sure to get that, right? And it should be a CSV. Now, the first method of connecting your data is to simply grab that file and drop it anywhere here. It doesn't matter where, right? Just drop it in, okay? And I'm going to explain to you this interface. So in we'll start in the top left corner. This part here is the connection, right? So you're going to see that this is the file name that I'm connecting to, right? It's a text file, which is like this, a CSV file is a text file, right? And this is what's actually in the file. In terms of an Excel spreadsheet, right, you will see the sheets, okay? In a CSV, it's a little bit different, but that's the data set there, okay? This part here is actually what else is in that folder, right? As you can see here, that you can potentially connect to, right? So you got this one and this one here that it's C. You can't connect to a video file because that's not data, right? And sample superstore is the actual CSV file, right? This new union thing, you don't have to worry about it. That's a long way away. Then you're going to see this part right here, okay? And this is kind of like your canvas, right? When you have multiple data sources you start putting in, this is where you set up all your connections. When you want to stack your data, you want to do unions, all that kind of stuff for all those database guys, this is where you do it, okay? The part up here is the way you connect to your data. Now, let me simply explain the live and extract versions. A live version means if I change something in the Excel spreadsheet, it will change here. So let's say the profit per customer on this one isn't 40, it's 80. When I open this up again, it will then say 80. Okay. With extract, here's how it works. I have my data, right? Whatever it might be, it'll be Excel spreadsheet. Okay. And it will say 40. Okay. But let's say this file is huge, hundreds of thousands of records. Okay. The bigger the file, the more processing it takes, the longer it takes to get the data out and all that, right? So you start having performance issues. So what happens is if I have Tableau over here, what it does is it takes a snapshot, okay, of this data, and it stops connecting live to Excel. Instead, what it does is it connects to its own file, and that file is called an extract with a extension called hyper, right? Which makes the data run really, really fast. Okay, so that's kind of the high level concept of live and extract. For now, we're just interested in live, right? Keep it simple. And this data is quite small. I think it's only like 10,000 records, so it's not too bad. Then you got this part right here, which is kind of like the third part. This is your actual data. So this tells you what's actually in my file, right? You can see what's in there. You can change how many you want to see. Let's say you only want to see 2,000 samples, right? You can change that. Aliases, hidden fields, you don't have to worry about that just yet. And then this is just different ways to view it. So let's say I'm viewing this data for the first time. A friend of mine goes, hey, check this out. I can either view it this way, right? Or I can view it as a list, right? Again, it's just personal preference. A list is really good because you can get a really nice view of everything that's in there, whereas the table, if I click here, shows me actually what's in it. So I can kind of start planning what I'm going to do with the data, right? And then this one is just to sort the fields, right? How you want to read it if you just want to have a look, okay? Then the fourth thing I guess I want to show you is these symbols, which you'll see on every single column, okay? Right? And it's different types of symbols. See, it's blue, green, you got planets and globes here, you got ABC, you got this hash or this pound, if you will, if you're a little bit older. You got dates, right? And basically these are the data types, which I'm going to cover in the next video in a little bit more detail. But this tells Tableau what kind of data is it. Is it a number? Is it a word? Is it a place, right? Is it a day? All that kind of stuff, right? And that impacts how you interact with your data, which again, I'll cover in the next one, right? Basically, once you're done with this part, you're like, okay, cool, this is the data. I'm not really going to do anything with it. I'm ready to start building. You simply click on sheet 1 or any sheet, right? Doesn't matter where really, but you start, okay? And if you ever want to go back to the data source, you just click data source here on the bottom left, okay? And you can always come back to here if you ever need to do anything, right? That is kind of like the interface explained. And I'm also going to show you the second way to connect your data. So I'm going to close this up again. All right, let's open it up again. So dragging and dropping is one way, but let's say you're connecting to SQL Server. You can't really drag and drop a file, okay? So you use these parts right here, all right? This connect part and this part here, depending on which one you want. So let's say you want to connect to an Excel file, right? When you click this, it's going to go into the standard open dialog box. You go ahead and you find your file, okay? Text files, again, CSVs, TXT files, that kind of thing. JSON, which I don't really use. Microsoft Access, I do use, right? So you can, each kind of dialog box is specific to the data type you're connecting to. So with Access, it's something like this because your username and passwords. And then once you connect, you'll see all the tables, all the queries you have in there. PDF files, which is kind of recent capability, meaning if you have a PDF file that has tables in it, it can actually read it. I haven't really made use of this too much, but it's pretty good from the times I have used it. Spatial files, you got statistical files, and more just means any other file that you can see in your data sets, right? So there's heaps of things you can connect to. So that's the first part, to a file. Now, if you're going to connect to a server, which is this part right here, the main ones are like Tableau Server, Redshift, Google Analytics, SQL Server, Oracle. But if you click more, this is how many things you can connect to. So there's heaps of things you can connect to, right? And they're adding more basically with every release. And I think they release like 4 versions each year. So they have 2018.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, right? So it's like every 3 months they release new stuff. And Tableau are so good at releasing new things, right? They really listen to their customers. So if there's certain things you need to know, jump on those forums, really let them know what's going on, right? And the things that you need for your work, because they really do listen, right? They're one of the companies that do really well in that regard, okay? So that's the second way to connect to your data. And I'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed.